Have you ever wondered if the vegetables you've trusted your entire life might actually be harming you? What if the foods you believe are protecting your health are silently working against your heart and joints? Stay with me, because what you're about to discover may change the way you think about your diet forever. Many people between the ages of 60 and 80 believe that vegetables are always the healthiest choice. But recent studies are revealing shocking facts. Some common vegetables could be quietly damaging your joints, hardening your blood vessels, and even increasing your risk of heart failure. This isn't about fear, it's about awareness. Sometimes, simply knowing the truth can mean the difference between years of mobility, independence, and overall well-being. Today, we'll explore 5 specific vegetables that you might need to avoid, or at least prepare differently to help protect your heart and joints. These vegetables are still found in the daily meals of many seniors, yet they may be triggering inflammation, discomfort, and unexpected health problems. But once you uncover what's really happening beneath the surface, you'll feel empowered to take action, quickly, easily, and without giving up on vegetables entirely. By the time you finish this video, you'll see how just a few simple changes in your diet can lead to fewer hospital visits, less pain, and a longer, stronger, healthier life. If you're serious about protecting your heart, your joints, and maintaining your independence as you grow older, you are exactly where you need to be. Let's dive into the 5 science-backed vegetables that seniors should approach with caution after 60. First up is what we call nightshade overload. One of the most common hidden mistakes among seniors is consuming too many nightshade vegetables. These include tomatoes, eggplants, bell peppers, and white potatoes. Many people don't realize that these popular foods could be quietly triggering inflammation in their joints. These vegetables contain natural substances called alkaloids, which can worsen inflammation in certain older adults. This is especially true for those whose joints have already been affected by years of wear and tear or arthritis. The tricky part is that many of us grew up believing that tomatoes were heart-healthy, and that potatoes were the ultimate comfort food. In many cases, they are, but not necessarily for everyone, and certainly not in large amounts as we age. Once you reach your 60s and beyond, your body can become more sensitive to specific dietary triggers. Nightshade vegetables, in particular, have been linked to swelling and joint stiffness, symptoms that many people simply assume are part of getting older. But is it really just aging? Or could it actually be connected to what you're eating every day? Take the story of Dorothy, a 72-year-old woman who had been waking up every morning with stiff, painful hands for years. She had tried everything, creams, medications, and even hand braces, without relief. It wasn't until her daughter suggested removing tomatoes and eggplants from her diet for just a few weeks that something remarkable happened. Slowly, the swelling began to subside. For her, nightshade vegetables were the hidden culprit, the missing piece of her health puzzle. From a cardiovascular standpoint, some researchers have also raised concerns about nightshade vegetables potentially affecting calcium metabolism, which could influence blood vessel health over time. This doesn't mean these vegetables are harmful to everyone. However, if you're regularly consuming tomato soup, potato dishes, or stuffed bell peppers, and you're experiencing unexplained joint pain or heart-related symptoms, it may be worth taking a closer look at your diet. Simple adjustments, like swapping white potatoes for sweet potatoes or using zucchini instead of eggplant, can make a surprising difference. The goal isn't to eliminate everything you enjoy, but rather to become more aware and make smarter choices. As we grow older, it's not necessarily about eating less, it's about eating what works best for your unique body. Number 2 on the list involves another common mistake: oxalate buildup from spinach and beets. Another hidden issue that quietly affects many seniors is the frequent consumption of high oxalate greens, such as spinach and beets. Many people believe that by eating these vegetables regularly, they're doing something wonderful for their bodies. However, what they don't realize is that these seemingly healthy choices could slowly be putting added strain on their kidneys and joints without any obvious warning signs. Oxalates are natural compounds found in certain vegetables. In small amounts, they're generally harmless, but as we get older, especially when the kidneys are already under some degree of stress from aging or other health conditions, these compounds can start to create problems. Some people might notice the effects through subtle symptoms like muscle aches, stiffness in the knees or back, or even sudden flare-ups of uric acid that seem to appear without explanation. Others may not feel any warning signs at all until they develop kidney stones, often unaware that their daily spinach smoothie habit could be contributing to the issue. One striking example is Harold, a 68-year-old man who took great pride in eating clean and living a healthy lifestyle. Every morning, he blended a smoothie packed with raw spinach and beets, convinced he was doing the right thing. But gradually, his uric acid levels began to climb. Then, unexpectedly, he ended up in the emergency room with an excruciating kidney stone. His doctor explained that his age wasn't the root cause. It was the oxalates from the vegetables he had been consuming in large amounts. Harold didn't give up on greens entirely. Instead, he began rotating different vegetables into his diet. Now, he enjoys collard greens, arugula, romaine lettuce, and watercress as his go-to choices. He also learned that lightly steaming spinach could significantly reduce its oxalate content, making it far easier for the body to handle. The key takeaway here isn't to fear vegetables, it's to better understand them. Some of the healthiest-looking foods can become unexpected triggers as the body changes with age. Sadly, many people over 60 don't realize this until they've already begun to experience damage. If you've ever struggled with unexplained joint stiffness, digestive discomfort, or kidney issues without a clear cause, it might be time to take a closer look at your oxalate intake. You don't necessarily have to eliminate these vegetables completely, but making thoughtful adjustments can make all the difference in protecting your long-term health. You don't need to completely overhaul your diet overnight. What matters most is learning to truly listen to your body's signals. It's not about following strict, rigid rules. It's about giving your body the foods it can genuinely process and benefit from, especially as you age and your needs evolve. If you're still here, watching this video, and finding these insights helpful, please take a moment to comment number 2 below so I know you're still with me. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I highly recommend you do so and turn on the notification bell. That way, you won't miss any of our upcoming videos. Your support really helps us continue creating valuable content that's designed to inform, educate, and inspire you toward better health. Now, let's move forward to another crucial point: nightshade vegetables that can trigger inflammation. This group of vegetables might seem completely harmless at first glance. In fact, they often have a reputation for being nutritious. Tomatoes, eggplants, peppers, and white potatoes all belong to the nightshade family. For many people, these foods don't cause any problems at all. But for others, especially adults over 60, nightshades can slowly and quietly spark inflammation within the body, particularly in the joints and digestive system. What makes this tricky is that the signs usually aren't immediate. They tend to creep up gradually. You might start waking up with stiff fingers. Perhaps your knees remain swollen, despite resting them. Or maybe your stomach feels uncomfortably bloated, even after eating a light, healthy meal. Too often, people simply chalk up these issues to aging. But in reality, there may be more to the story. Nightshade vegetables contain a natural chemical compound called solanine. In sensitive individuals, solanine can irritate the gut and spark inflammatory responses throughout the body. Though the amount of solanine in these foods is relatively small, it can accumulate over time, especially if these vegetables are eaten daily, as they often are in many diets. Let me share a story about Grace, a 72-year-old retired teacher who loved tending to her garden and was famous among friends and family for her homemade tomato sauce. For years, Grace believed her swollen hands were simply the result of overuse, or perhaps the effects of arthritis. She thought it was just something she had to live with as she aged. But then, after a conversation with a friend who had gone through something similar, she decided to try removing nightshade vegetables from her diet for a few weeks. To her surprise, something remarkable happened. The pain began to ease. Her grip strength started to return. Even her rings, which had been tight for so long, began to slip on and off her fingers with ease. It wasn't some magical cure. It was simply the power of awareness, recognizing how certain foods can quietly affect the body. Grace didn't eliminate tomatoes completely. Instead, she made some simple adjustments. She now makes sure to cook them thoroughly, avoids eating them several days a week, and skips them altogether during late-night meals. That's the kind of wisdom we often gain later in life, not through fear, but by paying close attention to the signals our body sends us every day. If you've been waking up with stiff joints, or if your knees and fingers seem more inflamed than they should be, why not try a simple experiment? Eliminate nightshade vegetables from your meals for just 10 days. During that time, swap them out with alternatives like sweet potatoes, leafy greens, or zucchini. Then, slowly reintroduce them into your diet and see how your body responds. You might be surprised by what you learn. The goal isn't to make food an enemy. It's to stop unknowingly fighting battles inside your body that you didn't even realize were happening. By the time we reach this stage of life, we've earned the right to feel good in our own skin. Sometimes, all it takes is a small, mindful shift on your plate to reclaim that comfort and vitality. Now, let's move on to another common issue: canned vegetables loaded with sodium and preservatives. Not all vegetables are created equal, and certainly not all forms of them offer the same benefits. Canned vegetables, while often seen as a convenient option, especially if you live alone or don't have the time or energy to cook from scratch, come with hidden risks. They're quick, budget-friendly, and can sit on your pantry shelves for months or even years. But here's the hidden catch. Many of these canned products are packed with excessive sodium and chemical preservatives that quietly undo the very health benefits vegetables are supposed to provide. Take green beans, for example. When fresh or lightly steamed, they can be wonderful for supporting heart health and aiding digestion. But once those same green beans are packed into a can containing anywhere from 400 to 800 milligrams of sodium per serving, they quickly shift from a healthy choice to a potential health hazard, especially for seniors who are carefully managing conditions like high blood pressure or heart disease. And it's not just the salt that raises concern. Many canned vegetables are lined with compounds such as bisphenol A, better known as BPA. Over time, BPA can disrupt hormones, increase oxidative stress in the body, and even interfere with joint health. A story that stands out is Frank, a 78-year-old widower from Ohio. Each winter, Frank would stock up on canned corn, peas, and carrots, thinking he was making a wise, nourishing choice. He believed he was doing something good for his body. But during a routine checkup, his doctor noticed his blood pressure had crept up, and there was unexplained swelling in his ankles. When asked about his sodium intake, Frank was shocked to learn that the problem wasn't from snacks like chips or processed meats. It was coming from the canned vegetables he had been eating almost daily. Once Frank made some simple changes, opting for frozen vegetables, choosing no salt-added canned options, and rinsing the ones he still wanted to use, the swelling began to subside. His blood pressure numbers also started to improve. The main takeaway here is crystal clear. Even foods that seem healthy can become harmful if they've been overly processed or packed with additives. And unfortunately, as we get older, our bodies don't bounce back from these hidden dietary stresses as quickly as they once did. Our kidneys and cardiovascular systems are already working harder with age. Adding extra sodium and chemical preservatives to that load can quietly tip the balance towards serious health issues. So, the next time you reach for a can of vegetables, take a moment to check the label carefully. If it contains more than 140 milligrams of sodium per serving or includes ingredients you can't even pronounce, it's best to put it back on the shelf. Instead, look for low-sodium or BPA-free options. Or better yet, stock up on small batches of frozen vegetables. With a quick steam and a drizzle of olive oil, you can enjoy a delicious, nourishing dish that your body will truly thank you for. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights helpful, please take a moment to comment number 4 below so I know you're still here with me. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I highly encourage you to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. That way, you won't miss out on future videos designed to keep you informed, inspired, and in control of your health. Your support truly helps us continue producing valuable content just like this. Now, let's move forward and take a closer look at another common trap: pickled vegetables that are high in vinegar and sugar. At first glance, pickles might seem innocent enough. After all, they're just cucumbers in a jar, right? But for older adults, these salty, tangy snacks can quietly take a toll on heart health and joint comfort, especially when consumed regularly without much thought. Many pickled vegetables are stored in heavy brine, loaded with a mix of vinegar, refined sugar, and salt. While they certainly perk up your taste buds, they can also stir up inflammation inside your body more than you may realize. Let's break it down for a clearer picture. Vinegar itself isn't inherently bad. It does have certain uses and benefits. However, when pickled vegetables are soaked in highly acidic solutions and combined with large amounts of refined sugars, they shift your body toward a pro-inflammatory state. That translates to more pressure on your joints, more stiffness when you wake up in the morning, and greater strain on your arteries over time. For seniors managing arthritis, diabetes, or high blood pressure, these risks can escalate much faster than expected. Take Walter, for instance, an 82-year-old gentleman from Georgia who had always enjoyed his pickled beets. He ate them almost every day, believing they helped with his digestion and were a healthy part of his meals. But as the years went by, he began noticing a troubling pattern. His knees were becoming stiffer, and his blood sugar levels were creeping higher. When his nutritionist carefully reviewed his eating habits, the surprising culprit wasn't just desserts or obvious sweets. It was the pickled vegetables, hiding teaspoons of sugar and hefty amounts of sodium in every serving. Once Walter adjusted his habits by cutting back on pickled foods and switching to fresh, lightly steamed vegetables instead, he quickly began to notice positive changes. His joints felt less stiff, his digestion improved, and his blood sugar became easier to manage. Soon after making those simple dietary changes, Walter began noticing dramatic improvements. The stiffness in his joints started to ease, his morning walks became longer and more enjoyable, and he felt like he had regained control over his legs and mobility. It's a classic example of how even vegetables, when they're overly processed or preserved the wrong way, can end up working against you instead of for you. After the age of 60, the body naturally becomes more sensitive to ongoing stressors. Factors like frequent blood sugar spikes, excess water retention, and low-grade cellular inflammation take a much heavier toll than they did decades earlier. The heart and joints, in particular, are highly vulnerable to this kind of silent, steady assault from certain foods. So, what's the solution if you truly love that tangy, pickled flavor? One excellent option is to try fermenting your own vegetables at home. This way, you can keep the salt content minimal and avoid adding any sugar at all. If that's not an option, simply enjoy pickled foods in moderation. Treat them as a small flavor boost rather than a main dish. And always read the label carefully. If you spot ingredients like high fructose corn syrup, artificial coloring, or preservatives with names you can't even pronounce, it's best to steer clear. When it comes to your food choices, especially in your senior years, convenience should never outweigh your health. Your heart and joints work hard every day to keep you moving and independent. Don't make their job more difficult with every bite you take. Now, let's turn our attention to another vegetable that deserves a closer look: eggplant, which is packed with both nightshades and oxalates. Eggplant may seem harmless, just sitting there on your plate. But for some older adults, this popular vegetable can quietly fuel joint pain and trigger inflammation throughout the body. Eggplant belongs to the nightshade family, right alongside tomatoes, peppers, and white potatoes. While these vegetables aren't dangerous for everyone, they can cause real trouble for people with arthritis or sensitive digestive systems. Let's take a moment to understand why. Nightshade vegetables contain alkaloids such as solanine, which can increase inflammation in certain individuals. These compounds aren't toxic in small amounts. However, if your body is already dealing with joint issues or underlying inflammation, even modest amounts can gradually make things worse. For those dealing with joint degeneration, past injuries, or chronic autoimmune issues, these compounds can quietly add fuel to an already burning fire. Many seniors notice the effects in familiar ways: stiffness in the knees, swelling in the fingers, or that deep, nagging ache in the hips that just won't seem to go away, no matter what they try. But there's more to the story. Eggplant also contains a moderate amount of oxalates, which can interfere with calcium absorption in the body. Over time, these oxalate aids may even contribute to the development of kidney stones, especially if your body struggles to process them efficiently. As we grow older, our kidneys naturally become less effective at filtering waste. This means that even moderate amounts of oxalates from certain vegetables can quietly build up and start causing unexpected trouble. I remember speaking with Eileen, a 75-year-old woman from Arizona, who loved making eggplant parmesan. It was one of her favorite comfort foods, and she enjoyed it almost every week. But over the years, she started noticing more frequent hand cramps. Her knuckles began to swell, even during the warm summer months. Her regular doctor didn't find anything unusual in her blood tests, but a holistic practitioner suggested she try eliminating nightshade vegetables from her meals. Remarkably, just 2 weeks after cutting out eggplant and peppers, Eileen described feeling like the swelling had been drained from her joints. She could knit again, without pain or discomfort. It was a simple change, but it made a huge difference in her daily life. Of course, it's important to note that not everyone reacts the same way. Some seniors can enjoy eggplant without experiencing any noticeable issues. However, if you're already dealing with joint pain, stiffness, or a history of kidney problems, it might be worth conducting a small experiment. Try removing eggplant from your diet for 2 or 3 weeks and pay close attention to how your body responds. You may be surprised by the results, and if you're wondering about alternatives, there are plenty of delicious options. Zucchini and squash are fantastic substitutes. They're gentle on the digestive system, naturally low in oxalates, and don't carry the same potential inflammatory risks. It's all about finding what works for your body. After all, when you're in your 60s, 70s, or beyond, every bite counts toward your comfort, mobility, and overall health. When you're in your 60s, 70s, or even your 80s, it's no longer about what's popular or trendy. It's about the quiet gratitude your body feels when you choose the foods that truly nourish it. The goal isn't to chase the latest diet fads. It's to listen carefully to what your body tells you, because those subtle signals often speak louder than any food trend ever could. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please take a moment to comment number 6 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I highly encourage you to do so and turn on the notification bell so you'll never miss a new video. Your support is what allows us to continue creating this kind of helpful, inspiring content designed to keep you informed and empowered. Now, let's move forward and wrap up with some final thoughts. Growing older doesn't mean you have to give up the foods you love. It's not about restriction or deprivation. It's about gaining wisdom, understanding what truly supports your body, and knowing which foods help you feel your best. Every bite you take has the power to either help your joints move more freely or cause them to stiffen and ache a little more. Every meal you eat either works to strengthen your heart or places added stress on it. What many people don't realize is that it's often the small choices, the vegetables you toss into your salad, the ingredients you stir into your soup, or even the snacks you reach for, that quietly shape how your body feels day after day. The truth is, no one really teaches us how to eat for life after 60. Most of us continue eating the same way we always have, believing that if it worked fine in our 40s, it must still work today. But aging changes everything. What once felt harmless can begin to weigh heavier on the body, and sometimes it's the foods we least suspect that have the greatest impact on our long-term health. As we get older, our digestion naturally slows down. Inflammation tends to creep in more easily, and our tolerance for hidden irritants quietly diminishes. That's exactly why being thoughtful and selective, even with something that sounds as harmless as vegetables, becomes a powerful act of self-care, not a form of restriction. You don't need to panic or completely overhaul your diet overnight. It simply starts with curiosity and a willingness to listen to your body's quiet signals. If you've been dealing with stiff joints, unexplained fatigue, or even heart palpitations after meals, it may be worth asking yourself a simple question. Could something on your plate be playing a hidden role? You absolutely deserve to feel good in your body, no matter your age. And often, that sense of well-being doesn't begin with another pill or prescription. It starts with something far simpler, a smarter grocery list. So here's my suggestion for you today. Try removing just one of these 5 vegetables from your diet for a couple of weeks. Replace it with something gentler and easier on your body. Pay attention to how you feel. Track your energy, your digestion, your joints, and even your mood. And most importantly, give yourself the freedom to be surprised. It's never too late to feel better, and sometimes that remarkable change begins with the smallest, quietest decision you make at the dinner table. Thank you so much for spending your time with us today. We'd love to hear from you. Please leave a comment below and share one thing you learned from this video, along with how you plan to apply it in your life. Your thoughts matter deeply to us, and reading your comments always brings us motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with others. Your support helps us continue creating meaningful content that informs, empowers, and inspires. Wishing you abundant health, happiness, and peace. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more helpful tips. We look forward to seeing you in the next video.